You had a free Saturday recently, nothing on it, no obligations, nobody needing you, and the exact empty runway you claim you're waiting for. You cleaned the kitchen, reorganized something, or watched a video roughly like this one. And here's what should worry you. Quitting your job would give you 5 of those free Saturdays every week. The runway isn't the problem. You've had the runway. Something else is happening. And a Victorian civil servant named Anthony Trollope diagnosed it so precisely that when he wrote it down, it ended his career. Here's the whole video. You believe somewhere underneath that real work has to be involuntary, that it arrives, and that if you have to schedule it, it isn't the good kind. That belief is why the free Saturday died. Scheduling felt like cheating, so you waited to feel ready. The feeling never came, and then it was 4 in the afternoon. Trollope did not hold that belief. He wrote 47 novels at 250 words per quarter hour before a full day at the post office, with a watch on the desk. When he admitted that publicly, the literary world decided he was a tradesman and buried him for 60 years. His story is about what the rate solved, what it cost him, and what you would have to stop believing to use it. At 5:30 in the morning, in a rented room in Ireland, Trollope began his day. He paid his groom extra to wake him and called it the best money he ever spent, because the hard part was never the writing. There was coffee, a desk, and a watch. The watch was not there to time the session, but to check the rate. 250 words every 15 minutes. He worked for 3 hours, producing roughly 3,000 words a day before a demanding job he did not neglect. Beside him was a ledger, recording the result week by week in a diary. The shortfalls were visible. Trollope said a blank week reproached him like an unpaid tradesman's bill. So what did the system actually do? The obvious answer is that it made him productive. But that is wrong, or at least shallow. The real function was that the rate removed the decision. Every morning the question, "Am I a writer today? And is this any good?" was replaced by a question with an answer. "Am I at 250? The first question has no answer at 5:30 in the morning, and answering it wrong costs you the session. Trollope did not beat self-doubt. He made self-doubt irrelevant to the schedule. The doubt still showed up. He had spent his childhood being told he was hopeless and believed it into his 40s, but doubt was no longer consulted. There is one detail people find genuinely disturbing. If Trollope finished a novel with 40 minutes left, he took a fresh sheet and started the next one. Finishing a book was not the event was the session. The standard story says that keeping a day job protects you through its salary. That is fine, but it was not what protected Trollope. He remained at the post office for years after he was rich and famous. Money was not the shield, volume was. Think about being 3 books ahead. A novel can come out, get savaged, and sell badly without reaching you, because you finished it 18 months ago and are already midway through the one after it. The writer who publishes every 4 years lives and dies by each reception. The verdict lands on a person with nothing else in flight. The rate is not just an output strategy, it is a defense. That is why quitting and then building is the wrong sequence. Quitting gives you time, but it also gives you stakes. Every project now has to land because rent depends on it. Those stakes make you cautious, which makes the work worse precisely when you need it to be braver. Trollope could write a novel about a woman's slow disillusionment inside an ordinary marriage because the failure of that book was structurally a non-event. You do not build a body of work to become successful. You build it so that no single failure can reach you, and the freedom is a side effect of volume. Trollope died in 1882. The next year, his son published an autobiography, and it detonated. Trollope had written down all of it: the watch, the rate, and the ledger. Worse, he was frank about money, printing a table of what each book had earned him. He said he wrote for money as a shoemaker makes shoes for money, and saw no shame in it. The reaction was not disagreement, it was disgust. Critics concluded that a man who worked to a schedule could not have been an artist. The books had not changed. They were the same books everyone had loved the week before. His reputation changed retroactively because of the method. He fell out of the canon and stayed out for roughly 60 years. The information that ruined him was information about process. That reaction did not die in 1883. You still have it. It is what makes tracking your word count feel embarrassing. I write when it comes to me sounds like an artist, while I write 500 words before work sounds like a productivity bro. It is why the free Saturday felt too precious to schedule. Scheduling would have made it work, and work was not what you wanted it to be. We still believe real work must be involuntary. Trollope's crime was proving, in public and with receipts, that it does not have to be. Now for the part these videos never include. Most of the 47 novels are not good. They are not mostly bad, but they are competent, long, samey, and written to fill a serial slot. The Barsetshire books, The Way We Live Now, and a handful of others are genuinely first-rate. The rest are furniture, pages that exist because the session existed. That is a real cost, and it should not be dressed up. If you optimize for output, you will make a great deal of mediocre work, and some of it will be published under your name forever. But consider the counterfactual. The careful Trollope, waiting for the good idea and writing only when it came, would not produce 6 masterpieces and no filler. He would produce 2 books, and probably neither would be The Way We Live Now. That book was written by a man fluent enough to attempt something structurally ambitious, and fluency is what the mediocre novels bought. The filler was not the price of the good books, it was the training for them. You do not get to skip it by being selective. Selectivity is what you can afford after volume, not instead of it. The first move is to replace the question you ask at the desk. Do not ask whether the work is good or whether you feel like doing it. Ask accountable questions such as, am I at rate? The number might be words, lines, shots cut, or calls made. The point is not the number, but that a question with an answer can be settled in 3 seconds, while a question about your worth cannot be settled at all. The second move is to get ahead of your own reception. Start the next thing before the last one lands, so that when the verdict arrives, it lands on someone who is already busy. If you have exactly one thing in flight, every response to it becomes a referendum on you. You will start making the work safer to survive that response. The third move is to decide, out loud, that scheduling the work does not cheapen it. Say the number to someone, and keep the ledger where you will see the blank weeks. If tracking it makes you feel slightly like a fraud, that feeling is the thing Trollope was buried for, still operating in you 140 years later. Change the question, stay ahead of the verdict, and stop treating the method as a confession. You do not have a time problem. You have had free Saturdays, and they went the way they went. You have a belief that the work must arrive rather than be made. That belief is expensive because it makes waiting feel like integrity. Trollope got up at 5:30, hit his 250, went to the post office, and did it again for 33 years. Then he wrote down how they destroyed him for it, and he was right anyway. Tomorrow morning already exists. It is on your calendar, currently allocated to sleep and a phone, and it will pass whether or not anything is written in it. The only question is what you are at the desk to find out. Make it something with an answer, and if this was useful, subscribe for more history like this.